What is a bond? A bond is an agreement between two people or two parties, and it states that first the person who issues the bond is the one who wants people to buy and usually wants to borrow money from the person who buys or purchases this bond. So let's say we have this agreement right over here, and so the person who issues the bond will say that, let's say this bond is worth $100, and someone buys this bond, so they will have to pay $100, and that money is going to be lent to me. I issued the bond. So, but then it wouldn't be fair to say that, you give me $100 and I'll give you back $100. So after a period of time, usually measured in years, I will set what's called this coupon rate, which is the interest that the person who owns the bond is going to receive after every year. So let's say I'll put a 10% rate on this. So, and let's say this is a 2-year. This bond is for 2 years. So if someone buys this, they will spend $100. They will lend that to me, and then after 1 year, I will pay back $10, and after the second year, I will pay back $100.
And there's no interest for the second year?
And plus the 10%. So totally I would be giving back $120 for this bond. Okay, so now I'm going to illustrate a scenario in which people make transactions using bonds, and the setting is going to be a Monopoly game, because Monopoly is a very fun game. So there are 3 players. Let's say there are person 1, person 2, person 2, and person 3. So let's say person 1, he owns a lot of properties and he wants to buy more. He wants to buy houses and he wants to charge people a lot of money when they land on his properties. So, except he doesn't have enough money to do that yet. So he needs to borrow money so that later he can build more houses and hotels, and then when people land on them, they'll pay him more. And the purpose of this, and not just passing go immediately, is that he might land on his adversary's properties and he might have to pay them, and he might lose money in that exchange. So he would rather take the chance and let them land on his properties so that he can have the money immediately, because that's better in this scenario than just pass and go. So let's say he issues this bond, and it says that it is going to be worth $100, just like in the scenario, and he's going to also have a 10% coupon rate, and then this will last for, well, we cannot say years, so we'll just say for 1 round.
Monopoly round, you mean?
But one round around the entire Monopoly track. So, and person 2, he decides to buy this bond, and it's good for both people, as you can see, because for player 1, he gets to expand his entire properties and house land, and for person 2, he gets $10 or 10% of 100 more than after he passes go. So person 2 purchases this bond, and then a short while later, before person 2 gets to redeem his bond that he purchased, he landed on a property of person 3. So now person 2 needs to pay person 3. But then he really doesn't have enough properties and money to afford that. So the only thing left is he must sell his bond that he purchased from person 1. So, now, it will always be for 10%. This 10% coupon rate after one round will still hold. And remember, this 10% is of the par rate, which is usually $100. So 10% would not mean of how much the bond is worth, but it would mean of the par value, which is usually around $100, as I said. So this 10% would be $10 always, as any percent. So now person 3 owns this bond, but then person 3 doesn't want to pay $100 for this bond, or else, well, he wouldn't be gaining anything. He wants to get the least price for this, obviously. So, let's say person 3 says $50 because person 2 is kind of already coerced to buy this. Otherwise, he's going to be forced into bankruptcy. So, person 3 buys it, and he gets it for $50. Now, after that, let's say person 3 doesn't land on any of the properties that are owned by his opponents, and then he passes go. So now, person 1 needs to pay person 3 the amount that he needs to pay, because person 3 now owns 1 share of the bond.
You mean when he redeems the bond?
When he redeems the bond after he passes go. So that would be of its original value, 100, because just because he bought it just because person 3 spent 50 on this, doesn't mean that this original value is going to change when he redeems it. So after he passes go, that'll be the end of this one round, and then, so person 1 would have to pay person 3 $100 plus 10%. So he would have to pay 110%. So that would be in the entire situation. Now let's evaluate how much each player has gained and lost. So let's start with person 2, which is probably the easiest because, so person 2, he first lost $100 when he purchased the bond, and then he never got his 10% back or his 100, so he just loses that. And then he adds $50 after selling it to person 3. So he would pretty much be losing. He lost $50. Better marker. So he lost $50. That's for person 2, and then person 2. Now,
so what's his return of investment in percentage terms?
He would have lost 50%.
So he invested 100 and he lost 50.
Right.
Okay.
Person 2, so that will basically mean that he lost 50%. And then let's see person 3. Well, person 3 bought the bond from person 2 for $50, so that would be minus 50. And then he got the $100 plus the 10%, which is 10. So that would mean after he redeems the bond, which is after he passed go, so that would be plus $110. So that would equal 60. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's correct. So he got $60, and that would mean that from originally paying $50 and he got $60 back, that would mean that he gained 120% of what he paid for. So now, let's see person 1. Well, person 1 issued the bond, so he received plus $100 from person 2, and then he had to pay person 3 interest, which is obviously the 110.
That's not interest only, correct? That's interest
Yes,
plus the
that's
principal.
interest plus the principal cost, which is 100. So, but yeah, I'm right, because he does have to pay interest. That the extra 10% that he has to pay is the interest, and so yeah, this would equal minus $10. So the reason that he lost money, it's not that person 1 lost money. It's that because by issuing the bond, he is committing to paying this interest, which if he doesn't, if he doesn't buy any other properties and no one lands on it, then he is going to lose money. But this bond has special purposes because I'm sure that person 1 would have spent that $100 on the property, and in a normal monopoly circumstance, he probably would have received income from that. So it's good for all players except person 2 because he landed on person 3's property. But so this is kind of the situation. This is what a bond is.
Very good.
Thank you.
So the lesson for person 2 would be, don't make investment when you don't have enough money, correct? Because then he is forced to sell the bond, and evidently that's the only money he had, and he bought a bond, which was good investment, but if that's only $100 we had, that's not a good idea.
He obviously should have considered
The possibility
all
of
the factors, and the factor that he might land on someone else's property, and that he might not be able to afford it, and he might not be able to pass go or redeem his bond in time.
Correct. And there's another more important point in finance is that he bought the bond for 100, right? And then all of a sudden he needed money. So he needed to convert a bond or any other asset he had into money, right? This is called the liquidity. And then let's say, then person 3 is in a position to say, look, no, I'm not going to pay 100, I'm going to pay only 50. So he is forced to sell his asset in a discount value and therefore losing money, correct? And person 3, he wins more because he's secret. Remember, the person who initially issued the bond only has a 10% coupon rate. How come one person lost 50%? Well, because he has to sell the asset at a discount. The other person won by 120% because he bought the asset in a discount rate. Right.
And I just would like to add something, because just because person 3 seems to be the best player in this position because he has the most money now, but that isn't exactly true, because as I said, person 1 will be committing to losing some money, but then obviously that money that he borrowed will be used to get more properties and houses. But then the thing is that person 1 will be gaining something other than the money, but then because his money will always have a chance of getting more. But then person 3, who seems to be in the better position, his money won't exactly improve because he wasn't investing to buying any houses or anything. So,
well, person 2 is not exactly the total loser either. Even though he made a mistake, he had to sell his asset at a discount, but at least he survived. He did not go bankruptcy, so he has a chance to recover, right? So that's still important. Very good, and this is very clear. You did a very good job. Thank you.